So, where are you from?
The CIA.
Huh, small world. I work there. And, how long have you and Steve been friends?
My whole life. 3 days.
3 days? Steve, I know you cloned these girls. If the CIA finds out, I'll lose my job. Now I gotta unclone them. Unclone means kill. Honey!
Stan!
Don't judge me. It was just a clone.
I know what you're thinking. How did I end up in this situation? Trust me, it's not an easy story to tell. You see, a long time ago, ancient alchemists stumbled upon the secret of how to birth babies from cabbages. This magic was regarded as the greatest secret. Using the Philosopher's Stone, they were able to find a new way to give birth, through the sacred cabbage. Why cabbage, you might ask? Well, rumor has it that they thought it looked like a baby's head. Makes some sort of sense, right? These cabbages were engineered to grow humans. I guess you could say I'm a homunculus. Actually, we all are. But the new church couldn't let that kind of power stay in the hands of a few alchemists. Now, they wanted the cabbage secret for themselves. So they destroyed the alchemist, wiped them out.
I'm sure you can.
What would the scientific reason be? All I've managed to find is scientists saying it's unethical. Why can't you clone a human?
Yeah.
Not that they can't do it, but it's unethical to do it.
The idea would be who owns it, I think, is where that gets to. It's because if you have a clone, do you own that clone, or does that clone have its own life?
Yeah.
Because you're paying money for it to be created. So then is it your child? It's not your child.
No.
So who owns this?
No.
Yeah.
If you pay to have it made, then it's kind of property.
I mean, but then you do the same thing with IVF, right? But I guess...
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
I haven't thought about this.
Right.
Yeah.
You are quite right. Yeah. Yeah. What is the difference?
Right. But then in theory, I mean, as far as I'm aware, we're all owned anyway. What
your understanding is of the word cabbage and why you think it might be used with regard to Cabbage Patch Kids and repopulation and so on.
I think it's funny because you could totally see them as just being something cute and quirky and fun. And I think that that's what a lot of people thought of them. But to have your eyes open to the way that this world or this plane of existence works, what is it that they're trying to tell us? What is it that this means? And so there's different categories of the cabbage baby postcards. So there's ones with cabbages where there's babies being plucked out of cabbages. And usually there's a man with striped socks and a lady in red. Part of that symbolism.
I do wonder that, when people say they've been cloned, does the clone know it's a clone? It's a clone.
So where are you with the whole cloning?
Personally, because I haven't seen a photograph of a cloning facility and I haven't seen any paperwork that says anything that would make me think that there's cloning, I'm skeptical about it. The cabbage postcards, and then you have the lady in red plucking babies out of water, babies in boats, babies on lily pads, babies in wells, babies being picked out of trees, being carried around in buckets. So there's a lot of that sort of symbolism. And then there's babies on trains being transported, or babies being flown by stork. And the stork is a symbolizing the postal service. You've got babies populating empty cities. So they're just all over the place doing baby things. And there's no adults. There's no one else there. And then you have ones where there's babies on a farm. So they're like riding on cows and drinking milk right out of their udders and things like that. How you would feed cloned babies, like what would you feed them? And, can you just feed a brand new baby animal milk? Is that safe? Or when did they invent formula and stuff like that? So first I wanted to look into the symbolism of the word cabbage, because why cabbage? Why aren't they in pumpkins? Or like why is it cabbages specifically? Cabbage was originally called cole or call. Like today we have kohlrabi. It's in the same family. The word cabbage came about in like the 1500s when they did that language overhaul. So it wasn't called cabbage before that.
Is this the great vowel shift?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to look at other words that start with C-A-B-B, and the only word there is Kabbalah. Kabbalah is C-A-B-B-A-L-A.
Right.
Kabbalah comes from the word kibel, which means to receive or accept. We're looking
Right.
at a cabbage as something as like a receiving vessel.
The new church was in control of the cabbage knowledge and its power. They used this secret to grow their own army, cabbage-born, loyal, and ready to serve. Around this time, something else was happening. A reset. The ancient world, filled with advanced civilizations, was falling apart. Floods, earthquakes, whole cities buried under mud. Some say it was due to a certain group's affiliation with black magic. Others think it was just nature taking its course. Whatever the reason, these incredible cities were destroyed and emptied out. They had to program the first set of orphans through the schooling system. And these orphans weren't just any children. They were the chosen ones, handpicked to become the elites of the new age. They were initiated into secret brotherhoods, where this knowledge of the reset and Freemasonry would be carefully guarded. These orphan brotherhoods began to clean up these cities, raise the streets, and create what we now know as downtowns. Many of these buildings were still buried, and there was a complete underground portion of the city that would be unknown to the general public. But there was still a problem. They needed to fill in these empty ghost cities with people. These first orphans were infertile and didn't even know what sex was. But within the brotherhoods, they were entrusted with one crucial secret: the knowledge of the sacred cabbage.
People thought that it represented a womb.
Cab means head, and so that's another reason why it could be called cabbage, because it looks like a head. 14 million people immigrated to the U.S. between 1900 and 1920, and then the numbers kind of add up.
So is it possible then that the Cabbage Patch kids or Cabbage Patch babies, that is to do with the they're called that because that is to do with the trafficking? Trafficking.
That's what I think. So if we look back and we're looking at the first category of these postcards, we've got cabbages. So we've got to receive or accept cabbatage. So the man with the striped socks who's farming them, he's the nation A, and then the lady in red who's receiving them, she's nation B, or Lady Liberty. So it's, so that's like all the immigrants that came over.
You wrote this book last year. It came out, the Tesla and the Cabbage Patch Kids, and you were telling us about the fact that in your understanding, your belief, your research has come to the conclusion that there was a reset in 1776, that a lot of our history has been false.
The intention was clear. All memory of these ancient temples and exponential growth had to be erased. So then they repopulated the known lands with a new humanity, adapted towards the ignorance that these cities and that this great empire had once been forged, where their feet would later tread the lands of the ancestors and the Anakim giants.
If you look at genealogy, you have a grandmother, and then you have a great-grandmother, and a great-great-grandmother.
Yeah.
And that's going this way on, like, if you're here, you get your grandma, then your great-grandma, and your great-great-grandma. And if you go this way, they're your cousins. Well, this is your cousin once removed and twice removed. So the terms great and grand mean one generation removed from. I think that the second meaning of great is you have removed history from one generation, or removed the understanding by one generation.
That makes perfect sense. Shit, that's a mind fuck, isn't it? That really is.
So the great fires, they're like, it's like they're laughing at you. They're saying, look, we took away your history. Now you don't know.
Some of these motherfuckers out here is clones. And I'm going to say this. That's why when you talk to them, let me finish what I'm about to say. That's why when you talk to them, their eyes look empty. When you talk to them and you say something, see, you can talk to them about ish that come on TV, little ish that you can discuss little petty ass ish, little matrix ass ish. But get on some real ish and watch and see how they shut down on you. And they give you that blank stare like it's nothing there.
Everybody have been following the resets, the mud flood concept. We already know there's been times where the population on Earth has dwindled down within a few years. And then all of a sudden, boom, it's populated now with billions of people again. And what I'm telling you is, not everybody we see is a conscious being. Most of the people on Earth are non-player characters. It's only a few conscious soul beings within this whole population. This is a theory. And the rest are just seeded clones to fill in like a video game.
What they do in these cloning centers, which he alleges are in dumb bases, these military bases all across the world, the information from the person to the clone is transmitted during REM sleep. So it's uploaded.
Yo, these kids, man. You can't tell me this kid is not 56 on the dot. These kids, man. Look at them.
This was how they repopulated the empty cities. Couples would come to the farms and pick out their favorite baby from the Cabbage Patch. They didn't really see these babies as their own, but instead, they were merely products. It became a cultural phenomenon to purchase babies, and they were sold on the streets, in carts, at shopping centers, and even at world fairs. These world fairs were repurposed ancient buildings that were used to display ancient advanced technology, and they would show off the incubator babies. These incubator babies were cabbage babies that had still not fully developed, and this tech was used to speed up the birthing process. So after the repopulation phase, the church kicked off a massive propaganda campaign to teach us a new fake history. But the cabbage babies never stopped being produced. It only went underground. This is still done in secret, in underground factories, for reasons that cannot be fully explained.
So yeah, but his research stems from Hollywood and the cloning of celebrities, which we're hearing about a lot more now. And there are quite a few famous clips out there of people like Hillary Clinton, Lady Gaga, Katy Perry, actually appearing to malfunction live, as if something's happened, like a kind of a flaw or a bug in a program. I've got two theories on that. One is that it is because it's a clone, and Donald Marshall suggests that they are adolescent and they have a handler. Now there is, and you can find this still on YouTube, there is footage of Martin Lawrence and Will Smith after they filmed the last Bad Boys movie, there was a press conference and they're walking together and Martin Lawrence isn't talking. The odd word that does come out of his mouth, Will Smith's taking over and answering questions for him. It's almost like he's sort of comatose or got severe jet lag. And you might think that that's a one-off. Apparently that's a glitch. That is a flaw because they are adolescent. They're made quite quickly.
We use the cloning machine at my dad's work to make prom dates.
Really? Wait!
Ah! Unclone! Control-Z! In every cloning movie, they come out fully grown.
This isn't a movie, Steve. This is real life. We don't have time for this. We'll find someplace else.
Wait. I'll take him.
And that was the selling point, the USP with the incubator babies in the World's Fairs that were launched by Dr. Martin Cooney, that they could grow a 9-month baby within just a few days. And people will be able to find that online if they look.
What about those girls' parents?
Actually, those are your girls.
What?
How is this possible? They must be 5 years old by now.
Do you realize what this means? At the accelerated rate they're growing, they're going to be the right age for prom by Saturday.
Now, I kind of thought that was just a catchy gimmick to promote incubators. But Donald's research suggests that actually, no, they speed up the whole process in these tanks. It goes from, a baby, a fetus almost, to a fully formed human quite quickly in a matter of months rather than years. They have a handler. So they're told exactly what to do. They're infantile. The clone is infantile. They're told exactly what they're supposed to do.
Mr. Hart, I can't wait to show you. Please step in. Now, I just want to warn you that we had to cut a few corners.
You don't even have to explain it. Trust me, I know all that stuff we figured out. I just want to see it.
This is some sort of human accelerated in its growth and presumably in its mind. Is it? I mean, so it's not a robot, and is it sentient, as in you and I?
No, not in the same respect. So it's 770 million people wandering around in 1776. 770 million. 100 years later, that had doubled to just under 1.4 billion in 100 years.
But I mean, that includes China?
That includes everywhere. When you look at the number of deaths within the same period of time, it's 3.3 billion people died in the same period of time. But during that same period of time, that same 100 years, we lost 3 billion through natural disease.
But wait a minute, that sounds like there's more people died than there was to begin with.
Yeah.
Somewhere the calculation is obviously not right.
No, none of it makes any sense at all. When they give us the population figures, they're not taking into account that somebody might do this research.
So, where are you from?
The CIA.
Small world. I work there. And how long have you and Steve been friends?
My whole life. 3 days.
3 days? That means you were born on the 30th. You have the same birthday as Selena Gomez. That lucky duck. She has a belly button ring. You should so get one of those.
I can't. I don't have a belly button.
Now I get it.